dengan ya saya thank you ini apa namanya diingatkan ya. Jadi bayar uang sekolah akan lebih murah. Bayar uang sekolah untuk high school dari kelas 1 sampai kelas 12 itu public school nggak usah bayar. University bayar kurang lebih setengah atau seperempat, sepertiganya. Itu tergantung dari university dan tergantung dari aturannya ya. Kemudian kemudian ada akses Medicare. Medicare itu artinya apa? Kesehatan terjamin. Kesehatan dijamin oleh pemerintah Australia. Jadi kalau ada sakit-sakit, kalau mau PR, itu tidak usah bayar. Ya, tidak usah bayar. Orang mau sakit jantung, mau sakit apapun nggak usah bayar. Ya. Kemudian yang kelima adalah reinstate your permanent residency is very important. Ya. Jadi kadang-kadang karena orang Indonesia itu mereka itu mau apply PR, tapi mereka nggak mau tinggal. Mereka asal pengen punya aja. Tahu-tahu lama-lama mereka PR-nya hilang. Oke, PR-nya hilang. Makanya kalau PR hilang bagaimana? Ya nggak apa-apa. Kalau PR-nya hilang, tapi bukan karena di cancel, sekali lagi, kalau PR-nya hilang tapi bukan di cancel, itu bisa di reinstate, bisa dihidupkan lagi. Saya punya cerita orang yang sudah hilang 20 tahun, 25 tahun, PR-nya hilang, kemudian bisa dihidupkan kembali. Ya, akibatnya apa kalau dihidupkan kembali? Kalau orang hilang 25 tahun, 20 tahun hilang. Ini saya bikin cerita. Katakan ada seorang yang punya PR, orang sudah punya PR, kemudian udah dapat PR, udah gitu dia nggak penuhi stay di Australia, kemudian dan hilang PR-nya, hilang PR-nya, udah hilang PR-nya, apa yang terjadi? Dia hilang, udah nggak apa-apa, tapi demikian rupa orang tersebut nanti sakit misalnya, sakit parah, dia sakit parah dan kemudian ke Singapura bayar mahal, ke Cungko bayar mahal, kemana bayar mahal, dia ingin ke Australia, Australia lebih mahal lagi. Bagaimana caranya? PR-nya dihidupkan kembali. Ya, kalau PR dihidupkan lagi tidak perlu medical check up. Ya. Ya, tidak perlu medical check up walaupun dia kondisinya nggak begitu baik, dia PR-nya dihidupkan, udah dihidupkan ke Australia dapat Medicare dan dia bisa dapat perawatan rumah sakit nggak usah sama dengan orang Australia di sini. Oke? Okay? Kemudian kalau beli properti, investment di Australia properti, kalau orang sudah punya PR, itu bisa pinjam di Big Four banks ya dengan bunga lebih rendah, misalnya ke Commonwealth, ANZ, NAB atau Westpac semuanya ya. Dan mungkin bisa dapat first home grant dari government. Government kalau orang pertama kali beli rumah dikasih duit juga. Kemudian stamp duty. Stamp duty. Kalau orang foreigner, kalau beli katakan 1 juta $1 juta, kalau dibandingkan saya beli 1 juta $1, saya bayar stamp duty atau tax property tersebut, itu saya bayar cuma 5% saja. Tapi kalau bukan PR, itu harus bayar kurang lebih 12% atau 13%. Perbedaannya 7 sampai 8%. Katakanlah 8%. 8% dari 1 juta $1 adalah berapa? 80.000. 80.000 nggak kerasa 80.000. Tapi kalau saya pengen ngomong 80.000 kasih dijadiin Indonesia itu 800 juta. Ya, itu 800 perbedaan saya beli properti yang sama dengan Bapak Ibu yang belum PR yang sama, perbedaannya bisa 800 juta kalau beli dengan worth property of $1 million, ya. Kemudian ada persyaratan FRRB lagi ya. Kalau untuk PR ini duit lagi semuanya, ini harus pakai duit semuanya. Seperti begitu. Oke. Nah, jadi itu kebanyakan benefitnya. Benefit yang terakhir adalah ini, buy one get one free. Apa nih? Buy one get one free. Artinya kalau kita punya Australian permanent resident, kita otomatis bisa dapat New Zealand permanent resident. Sekali lagi, kalau kita punya Australian permanent resident, kita otomatis boleh kerja, boleh tinggal di New Zealand. Tapi tidak sebaliknya. Ya, kalau punya PR dari New Zealand tidak bisa kerja di Australia, terkecuali mereka itu punya namanya jadi New Zealander. Ya, kalau New Zealander mereka boleh untuk apa tuh namanya itu, boleh untuk boleh untuk ke Australia. Oke? ya, boleh untuk Australia. Oke, ya, oke. Selanjutnya, kali ini kita akan bahas cuma hanya tentang business innovation investment, ya. Saya tidak akan berbicara tentang anak yang sekolah di Australia, kemudian bagaimana dapetin PR-nya. Tapi saya akan berbicara untuk orang tua bagaimana bisa membawa anak bisa dapat PR, ya. Dan kita akan berbicara tentang orang yang sudah punya PR hilang, kemudian bagaimana kita hidupinnya lagi. Oke? Oke, kalau berbicara tentang Business Innovation and Investment Stream ini, subclass 188 itu Business Innovation Stream. Ini bagi mereka yang punya bisnis di Indonesia atau di mana saja, dan mereka mau bisnis juga di Australia. Yang kedua adalah mereka bisa saja mereka punya bisnis tapi tidak mau bisnis di Australia, dia hanya punya invest. Atau bagi mereka yang tidak punya bisnis di Indonesia, dan mau invest di Australia sebesar minimum $2,5 million, ya. Nanti saya ceritakan lagi. Ya, kemudian ada SIV, dia invest 5 million, ada invest 15 million. Kali ini saya nggak bahas ini, dan ini juga nggak bahas. Cuma dua saja, ini sama ini saja. Oke, lanjut. Ya, Business Innovation Stream, subclass 188A, ya, 188A, ya. Business innovation ini ada dua tahap. Sekarang, saudara sekalian, kalau apply PR melalui business skills, tidak ada direct permanent resident. Sekali lagi, tidak ada direct permanent resident. Dulu ada namanya subclass 132, itu bisa direct permanent resident, langsung dapat PR. Dan nanti ada evaluasi. Tapi sekarang tidak ada. Semua harus melalui namanya temporary dulu, kemudian akan berubah menjadi permanent resident. Oke? Jadi kita akan apply temporary, kemudian setelah 3 tahun temporary-nya, setelah temporary dapatnya 5 tahun, setelah 5 tahun, 2, 3, 4, 5, setelah 3 tahun, dia boleh berubah TR menjadi permanent resident. Oke? Permanent resident. Oke? Jadi TR dulu ber-PR. Nah, pertanyaan sekarang, bagaimana persyaratan dari temporary resident ini? Oke, temporary resident ini, ya. Nah, temporary resident ini persyaratannya adalah applicant tuh under 55. Ya. Kalau orang yang di atas 55 bisa nggak? Masih bisa under certain circumstances. Contohnya Western Australia itu bisa menerima orang yang usianya di atas 55 tahun. Ya, tentunya ada kondisi-kondisi tertentu. Kemudian harus punya business ownership at least 4 years, minimum 30% of ownership-nya. Jadi harus punya saham di Indonesia 30% di Indonesia. Dan omsetnya, turnover-nya hanya 750.000 saja. Artinya cuma 8M saja setahun, ya, bukan 1 bulan. Jadi kalau saya ngomong turnover omset cuma 8M setahun itu nothing bagi orang Indonesia, itu nggak ada artinya. Itu achievable, sangat achievable, dan harus dilihat selama 2 fiscal year before the invitation. Ya, dan juga yang ketiga adalah punya personal and business asset minimum 1.250.000 at the time of invitation. Ya, 1.250.000. Ya, kemudian harus punya good health, good character, dan harus punya state sponsorship, salah satunya nanti akan dari Western Australia, dan ada passing mark minimum 65 points. Kalau 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ini, hal ini semuanya bisa dipenuhi, maka kemungkinan bisa apply temporary resident yang ini. Oke? Prosesnya untuk dapatkan temporary resident ini, prosesnya ini bisa 2 years sampai 2.5 years untuk dapatkan temporary resident. Ya, ini kalau berbicara cuman begini doang kelihatannya simple, tapi very very detail. Dokumennya bisa kalau dihitung pakai penggaris itu, kalau dihitung pakai kertas itu mungkin bisa 15 cm kali, ya. 15 cm. Oke, banyak hal yang harus diperlukan. Kemudian sekarang bagaimana convert dari temporary menjadi permanent resident. Ya, temporary jadi permanent resident. Jadi saudara sekalian, seperti saya tadi tahu bahwa orang mendapatkan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Temporary itu akan dapat 5 tahun. Ya, 5 years. Ya, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ya, di dalam 5 tahun ini, dalam 5 tahun ini, maka kita dalam 5 tahun itu you have to do business, ya. Bisnis minimum bisnisnya harus 2 tahun. Ya, harus 2 tahun. Jadi, tahun pertama, tahun kedua, tahun pertama belum bisnis, tahun kedua baru bisnis, tahun ketiga ini jadi lebih mantap tahun ketiganya. Misalnya 1, 2, 3, dalam 3 tahun tuh, dalam 3 tahun udah bisnis minimum misalnya misalnya 2 tahun. Oke, 2 tahun. Ya. Jadi apply PR-nya itu setelah memenuhi bisnis ini, dan bisnis yang akan dilihat adalah 1 year. Kemudian either spouse or main applicant harus tinggal 1 year in the 3 years. Jadi saudara sekalian, di dalam 1, 2, 3 ini, dia ini harus bisnis. Harus bisnis. Ya, harus bisnis di Australia. Di Aussie ya, tergantung dari state-nya. Kalau state-nya Western Australia, harus ke Western Australia. Kalau ke Victoria, ke Victoria. Kalau ke Queensland, ke Queensland. Ya, New South Wales. Masing-masing harus punya kewajiban bisnis di sana 2 tahun. Dan juga harus tinggal di sana 1 year in the 3 years. Oke? Kalau tahun 3 tahun pertama belum siap, nggak apa-apa. Tahun ketiga, keempat, dan dia dari tahun 3 ke 4 bisa TR, bisa berubah menjadi PR. Ya, ini bisa berubah dari sini. Kemudian kalau tahun keempat belum siap juga bisnis, kalau tahun keempat belum siap juga, maka apa? Tahun keempat, kelima, di sini TR baru berubah menjadi PR juga bisa. Ya, jadi kesempatan untuk bisnis di Australia itu bisa sampai 4 tahun sampai 5 tahun baru bisa apply PR-nya, bisa convert TR menjadi permanent resident. Saya ulangi lagi. Dapat TR itu 5 tahun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tahun. Setelah 3 tahun, mereka harus bisnis. Bisnisnya minimum 2 tahun. 2 tahun. Dan at least yang dilihat itu last 1 year. Nanti kriterianya apa saja. Ya. Dan salah satu dari applicant 18 TR-nya ini atau istrinya harus tinggal di Australia 1 tahun dari 3 tahun. Kadangkala kalau di Indonesia, kalau di Indonesia yang bisnis itu suaminya, yang apply temporary resident itu suaminya. Tapi suaminya kadang-kadang dia nggak bisa tinggal di Australia. Dia nggak bisa tinggal di Australia. Jadi istrinya yang tinggal di Australia boleh. Ya, istrinya yang tinggal 1 tahun, setahun dari 3 tahun itu boleh. Nah, sekarang saya lanjut lagi, yaitu persyaratan bisnisnya apa sih untuk convert dari TR menjadi PR. Nah, tadi saya bicarakan juga harus operate bisnis dalam 2 tahun yang tadi kan. Ya. Kemudian yang dilihat itu apa? Lihat bisnisnya itu on the last 1 year. Ya. Jadi tahun katakan bisnis 1 pertama, tahun kedua ini harus sudah operate. Ya, harus operate. Nggak boleh sudah buat company di sini tapi operate-nya di sini tidak boleh. Harus operate 2 tahun. Operate harus 2 tahun. Kemudian yang dilihat nanti itu adalah turnover dalam hasil ini. Turnover ya. Pada tahun kedua itu turnovernya, omsetnya di Australia itu harus minimum 300.000. Kemudian harus 2 dari 3 dipenuhi ya. 2 3 yaitu apa? 1, net bisnis aset di Australia harus berapa? 200.000. Kemudian kedua, punya personal aset yang di Australia plus bisnis aset harus minimum 600.000. Yang ketiga adalah employ 2 orang PR. Oke? 2 orang PR. 1, 2, 3. Ini 3 orang ini cuma pilih 2 saja. Misalnya net business asset 200.000 dan punya properti di Australia dengan 400.000 lagi, totalnya 600.000. Ini sudah boleh. Tidak perlu pakai pegawai di Australia. Atau duit untuk beli rumah nggak cukup, boleh saja nomor 1 dan nomor 3. Bisnis asetnya 200.000, kemudian punya pegawai 2 orang. Boleh. Oke? Dan terakhir yaitu at least either the main applicant of the temporary or spouse must have lived at least 1 year in the 3 years. Dan juga harus ada comply dari state kriteria. Saudara sekalian, oops. Halo, sebentar ya. Sebentar. Bentar ya.
Panas.
Sebentar. Ini ada masalah, bentar ya. Saya ini. Oke, nggak masalah. Oke, ini saya nggak bisa share screen sini, nggak apa-apa. Oke ya, saya lanjut. Stop share dulu. Oke, saya lanjut pakai desktop aja ya. Desktop saya sini ya. Oke. Ya, jadi either main applicant or spouse must have lived 1 year in the last 3 years dan comply state kriteria. Setiap state itu punya kriteria masing-masing, ya. Ada kriteria dari Victoria, ada Victoria, ada Western Australia, Sydney, ada Sydney bagian dari regional juga, dan juga ada Queensland. Ya, nanti ini masing-masing punya kriteria lain-lain. Contoh untuk Victoria dia perlu IELTS minimum 5,0 ya, dan tidak boleh keluar dari Victoria lebih dari 6 bulan. Terus kemudian ada beberapa poin tesnya lebih tinggi, bisa dari 65 poin jadi 80 poin. Ya, yang paling generous dalam hal ini selalu Western Australia. Ya, ada ini. Jadi saudara sekalian, kalau seperti ini juga tuh, Victoria kalau usianya di atas 55 tidak bisa. Tapi kalau Western Australia masih bisa. Nanti lebih jelasnya nanti Mr. Leo akan cerita tentang bagaimana Western Australia state requirement-nya ya. Ya. Kemudian yang kedua adalah bagi mereka investor stream adalah bagi mereka yang tidak punya bisnis di Indonesia atau bisnisnya sahamnya kurang dari 30%, maka mereka bisa apply Business Investor Stream 188B. Ya, 188B. Ini sama, 2 step juga. Temporary, kemudian menjadi PR. Temporary, dari ini setelah 3 tahun bisa berubah jadi PR pada waktu umur minimum 3 tahun, udah kalau nggak 3 tahun, 4 tahun boleh, atau 5 tahun juga boleh, bisa berubah 3 tahun. Syaratnya bagaimana? Harus invest 2.5 million into complying significant investment for 3 years. Ya, jatuh dari 2,5 itu 500.000 ke 500.000 invest ke venture capital high risk, kemudian 750.000 ke emerging market itu medium risk, dan sisanya itu balance investment to manage in managed fund. Jadi balance-nya itu bisa semua seperti begitu. Nanti Sofia akan berbicara tentang bagaimana tentang hal ini ya, dan dia akan perkenalkan diri. Kemudian untuk TR menjadi PR itu mereka harus tinggal 2 tahun dari 5 tahun. Ya. Nah, untuk temporary yang investor stream itu persyaratannya hanya seperti begini saja. Usia di bawah 55 tahun, personal and business asset 2,5, terus punya personal business asset 2,5 juta, good health, good character, state sponsorship, dan meet passing mark. Passing marknya kalau Victoria 80 points, yang other state 65 points. Oke? Ya, nanti saya akan cerita tentang passing marknya bagaimana. Oke? Ya, significant investor visa dia harus invest 1,5 juta. Oke? Saya nggak lewat itu. Nah, poin testnya begini. Ya, katakanlah ada satu orang dia umurnya 57 tahun, dia dapat 15 poin. Oke, 15 poin. Kemudian Inggrisnya dia nggak begitu bisa bahasa Inggris. Katakanlah orang 45 tahun lah, ya 15 poin. Oke. Kemudian Inggrisnya dia IELTS cuma cukup dapat 5 saja, misalnya ya, 5 saja, 15 sama 5, 20 poin. Dia bachelor degree di Indonesia, dia jurusannya bisnis, ya, 20 sama 10, 30 poin. Kemudian di bisnisnya itu dia personal dan bisnis asetnya ada di atas 2.750.000, berarti 35 poin. 20 sama 35, 55 poin. Turnovernya di atas 18 M. Berapa tadi? Tadi berapa ini? 15, 20, 30, 65, misalnya tambah ini 55 tambah 18 M misalnya, ya 25, udah 90 poin. Ya, tambah pengalaman bisnisnya, udah 10 tahun aja udah much more. Jadi 65 poin itu very easy. Ya, 65 poin itu very very achievable. Ya, dan ini tidak ada ranking bahwa yang paling tinggi akan diambil. Kalau untuk student, saudara sekalian, untuk student itu kalau rankingnya kalau yang peminatnya banyak sekali, jadi diambil top 100 atau berapa. Ya, jadi poin tesnya, walaupun poin tesnya 65 poin, tapi dia mungkin ambilnya 95, 80, 70. Jadi yang di bawah-bawah nggak akan dapat. Ya, kalau ini tidak ada. Oke, dan masih ada banyak lain. Oke? Alright, itu tentang business skill, ya, business skill. Kemudian reinstate your lost PR. Begitu nanti dapat PR, ya, begitu dapat PR, saudara akan dapat PR-nya selama 5 tahun. Oke? Selama 5 tahun. Total stay 5 tahun. Bagaimana perpanjang another 5 years nanti? Yaitu you have to be total stay 2 years out of 5 years. Maka kalau stay 2 years out of 5 years, maka akan dapat another 5 years. Full stop. Ya, tidak ada perlu apa-apa. Dan begitu apply hari ini online 5 menit langsung keluar 5 tahun lagi. Oke? Tapi kebanyakan orang Indonesia kalau businessman itu kebanyakan tidak tinggal dari 2 tahun dari 5 tahun. Maka bagaimana kalau tidak tinggal 2 tahun dari 5 tahun, maka akan dapat 1 year extension. Dapat 1 year, kemudian nanti perpanjang lagi, 1 year lagi, perpanjang lagi, 1 year lagi, perpanjang lagi, 1 year lagi, perpanjang lagi, 1 year lagi. Tapi kalau kurang dari 2 tahun, apa persyaratannya? You have to have personal ties, punya anak di Australia. Kedua, atau punya investment di Australia, punya property di Australia. Business ties, punya bisnis di Australia. Ya, cultural ties, misalnya melakukan banyak kegiatan sosial di Australia, Australia. Atau punya pekerjaan yang di hire kerja tapi posisinya di Indonesia, itu boleh juga. Tapi kalau misalnya personal ties tidak ada, business ties tidak ada, cultural ties tidak ada, employment tidak ada, maka you will lose your PR. PR-nya hilang. Ini banyak sekali orang PR hilang. Ya. Nah, kalau udah PR-nya hilang bagaimana? Tergantung nanti, ya. Tergantung apakah hilangnya kurang dari 10 tahun. Kalau kurang 10 tahun harus tunjukkan ada personal ties, business ties, business cultural or employment ties. Bisa onshore atau offshore. Ya, dia harus was Australian resident atau permanent resident. Tapi kalau orang yang udah 10 tahun harus onshore. Harus onshore. Nah, saudara sekalian, kalau berbicara reinstating your permanent resident itu is really depends on how we present to the government. Karena banyak hal yang yang subjektif terhadap case officernya, bukan seperti yang business skill atau yang 188E atau 188 ini atau 188B atau 188A. Itu kalau ini pasti berdasarkan law and regulation, pasti. Tapi kalau reinstate pasti banyakkan policy. Jadi tergantung dia mau terima atau tidak mau terimanya. Makanya kita akan benar-benar present case kepada government itu harus benar-benar detail sekali, ya. Oke, presentasi saya kali ini di sini, saudara sekalian. Makanya saudara sekalian nanti kalau saudara sekalian tertarik untuk kita berbicara lebih lagi, nanti teman-teman saya dari GN Associates akan buka chat kepada saudara sekalian untuk kalau misalnya mau bikin appointment, mereka nanti akan atur appointment ya semuanya. Oke. Sekarang I will call Mr. Leo Yu. Hi Leo, how are you? I hope you're there.
Yes, I'm here, Brunadi. How are you?
Good, thanks. I already finished my part.
Yes, I saw that. Very good.
I will pass to you, Leo. Okay, Leo ini dari saudara sekalian. Hang on. Leo ini dia itu dari Western Australia, dari Small Business Development Corporation dari Western Australia. Dia akan berbicara tentang state requirement untuk Western Australia. Oke. Dia mengerti bahasa Indonesia sedikit, right, Mr. Leo?
Okay, if you can give me the host, I'll share my slide. Okay.
You can share the slide.
Okay. Okay. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming in today, and thank you, Gunadi, for inviting me here to give you guys a short presentation about the state nomination requirement for the business and investment visa to Australia, and it's in particularly to Western Australia. At the moment, it's 11:30 Perth time. I think it's quite similar in Indonesia, 1 hour difference, right? And 2 hours difference with our friends on the east coast of Australia. So we're quite easy to communicate. It's only been a 1 hour time difference. Like any presentations we do, we always play this disclaimer because we from the government, so all the information we are presenting today is as current, and because immigration policies they are changing rapidly, so don't recall us, if you say, okay, 6 months ago, I heard Leo saying that, because policy could change. Okay, I'm not saying they will change, but there's a possibility. So and also as a government, we are an independent body. We do not endorse or refer any other service providers in through this migration game. So it's your own responsibility to do your due diligence to make sure you find suitable providers to do your visa, to do your investment, to do your business, to do your all the services required in your migration journey. Okay. All right. So today, Gunadi just talked about the overall criteria for the business and investment to Australia. And today, I'm going to talk about in particularly for the criteria for Western Australia. Western Australia is the closest city to Indonesia. So from Perth to Jakarta, it's probably like less than 5 hours. And in fact, from Perth to Bali, it's only like 3 hours, a little bit more than 3 hours. So Bali is like our sort of Western Australians' default holiday destination. It takes us 4 hours to fly to Melbourne, but 3.5 to Bali. So we rather prefer to go to Bali for holiday than Melbourne. So that's where we are. Okay. Western Australia, Perth. The beauty about Western Australia is we're not just one of the the closest capital city in Australia to Jakarta. It's only 1 hour time difference. It's good for migrants who have to maintain a strong connection back home, back to Indonesia, and also look after business back home as well. So if you want to connect to your family or friends or business partner back home, even you are in Western Australia, in Perth, it's very easy. Okay, I'm sure you've heard about Perth from your friends, and in fact, we had many business migrants in the past coming from Indonesia. And in fact, I think in the last 2 months, since Western Australia's border opened on the 5th of March. I've met on Zoom, like on Zoom, probably about 15 business migrants that arrived from Indonesia, from Jakarta, from Surabaya, from Bandung, from the different parts. Okay, yes, the connection between Western Australia and Indonesia are very strong. A lot of you guys have chosen Western Australia for their home under this business and investment visa. I mean, Australia is famous for its natural environment, lifestyle, and in particularly in Perth, you know, we are a state with just 2.5 million people. In fact, the whole state, we only got a 2.7 million population, you know, it's very small population. But however, we've been ranked for one of the world most livable cities for the last 15, 16 years, you know. Last year, 2021, we were ranked number 6 in the world, you know, even though it's during the pandemic. That ranking more to do with everybody's day-to-day life. For example, the infrastructure of the city, the medical facility, education, safety, etc. Okay, so from all aspects of our daily life, Perth was ranked number 6 in the whole world for last year. Okay, that's really an incredible result. And so that means, you know, Perth can offer you a really enjoyable lifestyle, and also you will receive lots of support from the state government that would actually help you through your way to get your PR. And talk about education, I think most of you guys would want to you know, give your children a better education opportunities and more opportunities for them to develop their skills and a future career. A good thing for the Western Australian government is that we will give all the 188 visa holder, okay, so all 188 temporary visa holder, if your children goes to our public school, okay, government school, from kindergarten to year 12, we'll make it free of charge. So basically you pay the same fee as the local West Australia. All right, so if you are 188 visa holder, imagine you got 3 or 4 kids, you're gonna save a hell of money, okay, rather than being an international student. So that's very generous from the government. And also the education system and the quality here can give your children different pathways, you know. They don't have to go to the university. They can go through the TAFE vocational sector. If they really wanted to do some skillful work, you know, there are massive opportunities here, you know, in the mining sector, you know, it's the engineering sector, and also the ratio of university to our population is really good in most of the developed countries, okay, OECD countries. So we have 1 university for every 500,000 people. So what's that mean? That means if your child qualify for a university degree, okay, he or she will get it. Okay, there's no fighting for, if you qualify. I mean, in some of the parts of the world, you have to fight for a university place because there's not enough. But in Australia, particularly in West Australia, if your child qualify for that that degree, you know, he or she will get it, okay, regardless. So that's the good, all the good things about, you know, education. You know, you save money if your children goes to our government school. Of course, if you wanted to send your children to private schools, you just pay the same as the local people. So that's no much difference. But if you decide to go to the government school, yes, you pay as the local West Australia, literally nearly free of charge. So it's only a couple $100 a year. So barely nothing. Okay, so you have the opportunity to choose if you are 188 visa holder. All right. So I believe Gunadi had give you a very thorough introduction regarding all the different type of visas, the process. Okay, just very quickly, migration to Australia. It's not really migration to Australia. You are actually migrating to a city in Australia. So you have to make sure you know where you want to go. Okay, because if you halfway wanted to change the city after you get your state nomination, even after you get your visa, it's rather difficult. Okay, so you have to think carefully before you apply. All right, because every city will have its own criteria, because every city belongs to different state or territory government. For example, if you want to go to Melbourne, you have to apply for state nomination to the state of Victoria. If you wanted to come to Perth, you need to apply for state nomination to the state government of Western Australia. Okay, it's very important you pick the right city you want to go. Even though I come from Perth, I would really encourage you to apply to Perth. However, it's your own decision. Okay, you have to do a lot of research to make sure that city you are going to suits your lifestyle, suits your business, suits your future plan. Okay, do not make the wrong decision. Okay, just based on which stays easier, which stays harder. Okay, make sure that you go somewhere that you wanted to settle in for a long period of time. All right, so let's say you wanted to apply to Western Australia. Okay, at the moment, for state nomination applications, the decision time is around 4 weeks. Okay, depends on the quality of the application and then the all the information presented, the paperwork. Okay, so up to 4 weeks, that's a standard turnaround time. Once we approve your nomination, if we're happy to give you the nomination, then we'll send you the invitation to apply. Okay, this will enable you to lodge a formal visa application to the Department of Home Affairs, or you can call it the Immigration Department. Okay, but you have to do it within 60 calendar days. If you miss out on the days, you won't get another nomination. Okay, another invitation. Okay, you have to make sure you've prepare all the documents. Okay, and once you lodge to the Department of Home Affairs, at the moment visa decision time is around 24 months. Depends on what type of visa and which line you are going to, because so you will be in the fast line or you'll be on the ordinary line. Okay, it depends, and no one can help you. Okay, it's all by luck. Okay, if you're lucky enough, you probably get your visa in about 12 months. Otherwise, you probably have to wait for 24 months. No one can control it. Okay, however, we are hoping, because I'll tell you the reason. The reason for that the processing time has been ridiculous is because there are so many backlogs. Okay, backlog applications sitting in the system. And because of COVID, people work from home, there's a lockdown, so the speed of processing has dropped dramatically. Okay, however, it has picked up since last year. Okay, so the Department of Home Affairs are clearing those backlogs as they go. Okay, so we are expecting, okay, hopefully by next financial year, we're talking about from 1st of July this year to 30th June next year, the processing time will further reduce. Okay, so eventually we're looking at 12 months maximum to hear a decision from the Home Affairs Department for any visa. Okay, that's the goal. That's the goal they are working towards. Okay, and I think they are getting there. Okay, and recently a lot of applications been granted, a lot of visas been granted. So I think they are working towards that goal. Okay, so don't panic. Sit tight. Just be patient, because there's no. Once you lodge your application, there's no way you can fast track it, or no way you can actually call anyone to talk about it. It's very, very difficult. Okay. All right. Quickly go through the state nomination criteria for the 188 and 888 visas for Perth. Okay, the first one is very simple. Remember, if you run business in your home country, if you are a business owner in Indonesia, okay, then you might qualify for this business innovation stream. Okay, so simple criteria, minimum net assets, you have to get above 1.25 million. You have a business with turnover of more than 750,000. Okay, 2 of the last 4 fiscal years. Meet the point test. Okay, Gunadi just mentioned. Okay, you have to be under 55 years old at the time of application, and basically the state, Western Australian government, we are again very kind. We can offer an age waiver. I'm going to talk about it later in the presentation. Okay, so that's just the basic requirement to qualify for the visa. And who can, if before you apply for state nomination, you need to do an assessment to see whether you qualify and to see which visa you qualify. Okay, and remember, who can do the assessment and qualification? Of course, you can do it yourself because all the criteria are there. However, okay, we still recommend you to use a registered Australian migration agent. Okay, with RMA, with the registration, like Gunadi here today. I don't know what's his registration. Must be, he must show you at the beginning of his presentation. So a registered Australian migration agent, they can easily assess your situation and tell you what visa you can apply. Okay, it's not that you decide which visa you can apply. It's actually, the visa, the criteria, actually, whether you meet all these, you qualify for the criteria. Okay, you might want to apply for 188C, but you're probably not qualified. Okay, so the assessment is very important. Okay, to see what visa you qualify. Then you need to decide, okay, what visa you apply. Okay, come back to this this 118A, which is the basic, what we call it the basic sort of business innovation visa, and the state requirement is quite similar to the immigration department. This just all right. So the state requirement for this visa is pretty much the same. Okay, so at least 600,000 total net assets. Okay, in Western Australia, that's at AAA stage. So when you apply for your 118, you need to propose in your business proposal something like this. This is just the minimum guideline. Okay, at least 200 in the business. Okay, and the business has turnover 300,000. Very simple, very clear. This is the bottom line, okay? And the number of employees, number of FTEs, okay, should be reflected, which means we don't automatically ask you to propose any employees, but you need to tell us, based on your business proposal, your business plan, do your business need any employees? For example, if you are running an Indonesian restaurant, a Balinese restaurant, or anything, you want to sell, nasi lemak or whatever, you need employees. You can't tell me I'm running a restaurant, but I don't need any employees. It's impossible, right? But if you say, I'm doing a property development and I don't need an employee, because why? Because all the work and the project management will be done by the contractors. So I don't need any full-time employees because I'm the guy who can do the management and who can do the coordination. The rest of the team are contractors. They are builders. I don't need to hire an employee to do those work because that's very common in Australia. You don't hire, if you want to build a house, you don't employ a bricklayer to build the bricks for you, okay? You actually employ or hire a builder. Okay, so the number of employees will depend on the type of business you wanted to do. Okay, so we don't want you to over-promise, okay, and making the fake numbers for employees because it's not necessary. Okay, you just have to be honest. Okay, be realistic with us. All right. Residence requirement is the same as the immigration. I think Gunadi talked about it, the swap of main applicant, husband and wife can swap, depends who can meet. So basically this swap, okay, swap and the residency requirement, they are always often together, because whoever can meet the residency requirement need to be the main applicant for the second stage of the PR, okay, 888. Okay, so we support that. We can give you this age waiver. But what we after from you in terms of for this business innovation stream is a business proposal with a detailed budget. Okay, when I say business proposal, I don't need you to give me 100 pages business plan. Okay, I don't have time to read it. I need you to be able to summarize everything in 4 or 5 pages. Okay, to show us that you have done enough research about the business you are going to do in Western Australia. You understand the current economic condition in Western Australia. Okay, we are facing a huge skill shortage. Okay, our unemployment rate is at historical low since the beginning of the federation in 1901. Okay, we have the lowest employment rate. Okay, probably in the world, 3.9%. That's the lowest. Okay, that's the lowest in the history. And the inflation is quite high. So how are you going to tackle these issues? You have to put clear solutions in your business proposal. Okay, if you want to buy in a business, okay, is the price you're buying now, would that be changed? If you say, okay, 2 years later, whether the price will go up or go down, okay, you need to give us an analysis, okay, some sort of proposal to show that you understand. Don't copy from the internet, okay, because they're old. All right, and make sure you give us a budget so we know that you understand the costing issues. If you say, okay, I want to do a property development business, okay, and I wanted to build 3 houses in the CBD of city of Perth. My budget is $1 million. Okay, we'll tell you no, this is unrealistic. Okay, you cannot buy a piece of land and build 3 houses on it for $1 million in CBD. That's unrealistic. However, if you say, I'm gonna buy a piece of land 40 kilometers away from Perth and build 3 houses, and the total cost will be 1.2 million, maybe that's reasonable. Okay, so your business plan, your business proposal is very important in the whole process of the state nomination. Okay, all right. Lots of people ask me what kind of business I can do. Okay, first of all, we have no restrictions on the type of business you can do. Okay, so here are just some examples from the past migrants. Okay, someone have opened a coffee shop, a restaurant, a franchise. Here we got a couple of Indonesian restaurants opened by people from Surabaya, and they're really nice. Our business, they were our business migrants. Okay, a little restaurant and very authentic. Some people doing import and export. Okay, export Western Australian staff back to Indonesia or import any Indonesian staff here. Okay, depends on the demand, okay, of the market. And people can do property development. Okay, they can for property development, we have a few additional requirements. For example, you have to propose a project with at least 3 dwellings. Okay, for example, 1 piece of land subdivided by minimum 3. If you want to build 4, 5, 6, 7, it's better. Okay, however, minimum requirement 3. Okay, and the project must generate at least 300,000 turnover, which means you have to sell at least 1 unit or 1 villa, okay, or 1 townhouse from your project. You need to sell at least 1 to make a turnover. That's the Home Affairs the requirement. Okay, and you cannot rent your properties out. Okay, all this property in your business, you have to sell them. You can't hold them as a passive investment because that's the nature of your visa. It's a business visa. You have to do business. Okay, but remember, those are the state requirements for property development. Okay, what the federal government are looking at are 2 things. Okay, one is management. Okay, ongoing management. So which means you have to manage your business. And secondly, is your business activity sustainable, which means is that continuing business activities. Okay, which means you cannot do 3 dwellings and stop for 3 years doing nothing. This is not ongoing business activity. Okay, so 2 things are very important: management, how you show your management, okay, and how to show your business is ongoing business activity. Okay, because you can't undertake the property development business in partnership with anybody else. Basically, you have to 100% own that project because it's a small project. Okay, so you have a substantial ownership that's already ticked. Okay, so the thing you're looking at is management and make sure your business is ongoing. Okay, if it's a restaurant, of course it's ongoing because it's trading every single day, right? For property development business, you know, there might be time that there's a gap between, you know, the first project, second project. Okay, you have to be careful on those things. Okay. All right, next visa is the what we call the investor visa. Okay, again, use your activities or your experience, your assets in your home country to qualify for the visa. Again, Western Australia has no difference in terms of the criteria with the Home Department of Home Affairs. Still point test, you know, under 55. The only thing we'll ask you is that when you apply for your 888 here, you agree to reinvest the compliant investment into any Western Australian assets. Okay, once your compliant investment mature, you agree to reinvest the money into our estate, because at the beginning, okay, when you invest in your compliant investment, okay, you can invest in any fund, okay, by a qualified fund manager, anything, okay. We don't require you to do any extra. It's only when you apply for 888, when the 2.5 million compliant investment matured, we ask you to agree to reinvest them in Western Australia. Okay, any assets, for example, residential properties in WA, commercial property in WA, farms in WA, Western Australia company share. The gold in Perth Mint, we have a Perth Mint. If you want to buy some gold in Perth Mint as an investment, you can. So anything considered as a Western Australian assets, okay, except you say I'm gonna put cash, all of them in cash in the bank account, okay, that's not allowed. All right. So when you apply for the 888, you need to show us the plan, what you're gonna do with your $2.5 million after the maturity. Okay, if you wanted to put them back into the compliant investment, then they have to be WA focused, okay, 100% WA focused when you reinvest them after the maturity. But if you wanted to put into just ordinary assets, it's your choice, okay, it's your choice. Okay, the next one is the SIV, which is the 5 million, okay. Again, the criteria is easier. Again, if you can show that you have a net assets of $5 million and ready to transfer to Australia, put into the compliant investment, then this is visa for you. There's no points requirement. There's no age limit. Okay, very simple. Again, our requirement is simple. So once the 5 million compliant investment matured, same thing, you know, you agree to reinvest them into Western Australia's assets. Okay, so you choose where you want to put your money. Okay, so these are the 3. Okay, unfortunately, we only have 3 popular visa categories from this financial year. Okay, being the A, 188A, which is the business visa, 188B, 2.5 million compliant investment, and 188C, which is 5 million compliant investment. All right. The last one is the entrepreneur stream. Again, we don't have any criteria because we want you to tell us how you're going to run this. I mean, if you have an innovative idea and that idea can be commercialized in Western Australia, okay, by all means, you know, send us an email. You know, we give you an expression interest form. Then you tell us about your idea, and then we see whether your idea is realistic. Okay, you can't give us an innovative idea that cannot be commercialized, and you can't give us an idea can be commercialized but it's not innovative. Okay, So these two has to be matched. Okay, that's two has to be matched. All right. Anyone interested can email us and get some information about the entrepreneur stream. Okay. All right. That's all the visa categories or visa subclasses that are available under the business and investment visa. Okay. This thing, I mean, I've talked about the age waiver. Okay. And also we can provide you additional 10 points. Remember, you have to meet 65 points at the passing mark or 55 years old. Western Australian government, again, is very, very kind. Okay. We can offer you one of the above. Okay. If you are over 55, but you can meet the 65 points, okay, this is the criteria. Okay, we don't give you any minimum whatever. Okay, this is the guideline. Okay, you propose this, we'll give you the age waiver. You propose this, we'll give you the 10 points. Okay, for the 188A business innovation stream, the business visa, right? Net assets in WA at least 1.5 million. All right, which at least 500 in the business, plus 1 new full-time jobs. Okay, this is for 188A. Okay, for 188B, the investor stream, if you need 10 points or age waiver, okay, the 2.5 compliant investments stay the same. We don't touch it. Okay, however, you need to get us additional 1.25 million in net assets. Okay, additional 1.25 million in net assets in WA. Okay, it can be a property, a business, a commercial property, a farmland, or some company share, Western Australia company shares, or simply some gold nuggets in Perth Mint. Okay, anything is Western Australia assets. Okay, and when you need to show us this at the time of your 888 applications. Okay. So at your 888 applications, you need to show us you already have this in Western Australia. Okay, so you have time to do this. But this 2.5 is before you get your visa granted, you need to get a 2.5. Once you grant your visa, you have another few years to bring that 1.25 into WA. So at 888, you need to show us this figure already in place in Western Australia. Same as this, okay? You propose this at 188, and then we'll check it on 888. Clear? Unfortunately, you can only apply one or another, okay? You can only apply either age waiver or the additional 10 points, okay? So make sure you do your calculation right. Okay, very straightforward, very clear, very simple. Okay, if you need an age waiver or you need 10 points, okay, come to us, we can help you. All right, that's my contact details. If you are in Perth, welcome to come to our office, or jump to our website. We have a new website, so quite a lot of information is available on the internet. And thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation. And I think we're gonna have some question and answers, right? Well, everybody is really in it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Leo. For some of my clients asked for the business in Australia and asked about the investment, the 2.5 million. What is this? How to manage and everything? Okay. Now I will introduce you to Sophie Chen from Sequoia. I don't know Sequoia, and then she will introduce herself, and then how about talk about the investment of 2.5 million for the investment 2.5 million. Okay, time for you, Sophia.
Nadi, thanks for everyone for time, and thank you, Leo, for the explanation on the government sponsorship. So my name is Sophie. So before I start the conversation, I just want to make sure today's presentation is for general information only. So anything that we discuss here is for factual information and general information, so no advice is given. So first of all, before we go into the presentation, I want to show you this page. So this is from the immigration website. So when you are obtaining your visa, so everything your migrant agent has proved to the visa side, state government have ticked the box, say yes, we're going to grant you a visa. Now it's come to time for investment. So for the investment, government also provide you with the information they say you should seek for professional advice. So professional legal or professional financial advice. So myself, my role is financial planner. So we provide financial advice for all type of investments. So this is a little bit about my background and my company. So in Australia, there's many type of investment. 188A is you invest into business. So which means you buy a company, you run, you manage. So that's a direct equity investment. So our role is here to provide you with financial product advice. So so myself used to work for Commonwealth Bank, and myself also from Perth. So I live in Perth almost 20 years. So currently I work for this company called Sequoia Financial Group. It's Australian listed company. And we are currently number 6 in the whole country for providing financial advice. And myself has been in Australia practice financial advice for 13 years. So this is what we do. So when you come into 188B and C, so it's a 2.5 million and 5 million Australian dollar investment. So which means all this stuff gonna put it into a portfolio. So that's where we're coming from, wealth management. So this is the business area that's highly related to your 188B and C visa application. So today I'm not going to take too much of your time on how to invest. So only about who we are. And if you do need a consultation or financial advice, you can easily come to Mr. Gonadi or myself. So our office located nationally. So we have 39 financial advisors in WA, in Perth. And so if you have a language requirement, you can always reach to us to say if you want to have a translator or a financial advisor who can speak your hometown language, then we can facilitate that. So that's all the offices that's available in Australia from us. So Ms. G, I won't take too much time for today's presentation, so I will leave more time for everyone to ask questions, if that's okay.
Yes, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sophie. That's the one that we need from you, because we introduced you for this one, because later on, if everybody would like to get more information, we can have a private Zoom meeting with Sophie or with me, okay? And then now the last one is we'll introduce you to my friend, names is Benny. He is Indonesian, dia orang Indonesia. So jadi sekarang ini kita akan pakai bahasa Indonesia. Where is Benny? Where are you, Benny? Oh, here. Okay.
Yeah.
Benny akan berbicara tentang opportunity kira-kira tentang perusahaannya dia, dan saya banyak sekali dibantu sama Benny tentang apa namanya, tentang usaha-usahanya, usaha klien-klien saya di Australia. Silakan Ben.
Oke, selamat pagi Bapak-bapak dan Ibu-ibu. Sorry kalau saya nanti sebentar mungkin kalau nggak bisa internetnya, nggak bisa jalan dengan lancar, mungkin saya harus matiin videonya karena saya ada di countryside of Perth, kira-kira 1 jam dari Perth. Ya. Jadi sedikit perkenalan aja, kita bukannya mau bikin presentasi atau apa, cuma karena berdasarkan pengalaman, karena saya pindah ke Perth itu pertama kali datang dari tahun 1984, hampir 40 tahun yang lalu. Dan saya sekolah di sini, saya become permanent resident dari tahun 89, dan sempat bekerja di beberapa bank di Australia, Singapura, dan Indonesia. Tapi yang mungkin paling bisa sharing pengalaman dengan kalian yang akan mencoba untuk migrate ke Australia. Sejak tahun 2002 saya running perusahaan sendiri, saya hold financial service license and manage beberapa aset. Ada yang public listed company dan juga ada perusahaan-perusahaan yang kecil subsidiary yang membantu public listed company ini. Total aset management kita sekitar 500 juta dolar, jadi lumayan signifikan untuk bisnis di Australia, tapi juga bukan yang luar biasa besar untuk beberapa bidang tertentu. Jadi kita lumayan hybrid untuk memberikan advice buat orang-orang yang mau bisnis PR untuk mencari bisnis di Australia. Cuma satu saja yang pesan yang paling penting mungkin yang saya bisa sampaikan dari tadi presentasi dari Pak Gunadi dan Leo Yu yang benar-benar di orang-orang lihat itu kan berapa duit yang diharuskan dan berapa peraturan-peraturan apa yang supaya bisa dapat PR gitu. Jadi kebanyakan orang-orang Indonesia itu mencari oke, saya udah berhasil dengan tik daripada duit dan peraturan, that's it, dipikir dengan mudahnya, dengan gampangnya masuk ke Australia dan apply untuk PR. Padahal ini namanya aja bisnis PR, jadi mereka lupa bahwa yang harus dicari itu sebetulnya dibalik bisnisnya dulu apa sebelum apply PR dan yang lain-lain ya. Karena banyak orang Indonesia datang ke Australia, persepsi yang pertama yang jelas salah misalnya bahwa bisnis di Australia itu susah. Karena sebetulnya mereka tanya teman-teman yang ada sekitar dan terus terang aja tidak banyak orang Indonesia yang bisa berbisnis di Australia. Bukan karena mereka tidak mampu, tetapi karena networknya salah. Contohnya, bisnis paling utama di Perth, WA, itu sebetulnya mining. Berapa orang Indonesia yang berkecimpung di bidang mining di Perth? Mungkin 2 atau 3 orang saja. Bisnis lainnya, education. Berapa orang yang buka sekolah di Australia? Tidak banyak. Agriculture. Berapa orang Indonesia yang berbisnis agriculture? Juga tidak banyak. Akhirnya mereka cuma untuk memenuhi syarat, mereka mencoba berbisnis di bidang restoran atau properti. Padahal di Indonesia mereka nggak ada background untuk restoran dan properti. Ya. Jadi akhirnya setelah dapat PR, mereka juga kewalahan untuk maintain bisnis itu dan akhirnya ditutup setelah PR-nya didapat. Ini yang mungkin yang bisa saya bantu dari pengalaman saya selama ini di sini dan juga kebetulan karena saya juga berbisnis. Bisnis di Perth itu sebetulnya bukan susah luar biasa, tapi kita perlu local knowledge. Misalnya, jadi kita perlu perlu mendapat advice dari orang yang tepat. Misalnya bisnis restoran di Australia, walaupun kelihatannya mudah, tetapi di Australia itu banyak regulasi dan lain-lain. Jadi kalau kita asal buka aja restoran, makanannya enak, tapi terus dapurnya jorok, tiba-tiba kena denda 100.000 dari pemerintah, tahun berikutnya kita udah bangkrut, udah tutup. Karena banyak sekali peraturan yang kita tidak mengerti. Tapi sebetulnya kalau kita ngikutin aturan, bisnis di Australia itu mudah karena pathway-nya jelas. Ada peraturannya apa, kita bisa tahu. Mining tidak mengerti, kita tahu apa aja yang harus kita kerjain gitu. Jadi pesan saya cuma simple aja, lebih baik kita approach dilihat dari bisnis background yang lain, dari masing-masing aplikan, karena terus terang migration agent yang lain mungkin kebanyakan, makanya Gunadi mungkin bisa sharing kebanyakan migration agent karena susah, semua orang disuruh masuk aja ke investment di properti, akhirnya habis duit banyak dan tidak menguntungkan, terus dia bilang Australian investment is not a good investment, gitu aja. Jadi mungkin buat orang yang benar udah serius untuk pindah ke Australia, sedikit akan tanya ke Gunadi, saya background bisnisnya apa, misalnya money supply atau apa, itu opportunity besar sekali di sini. Cuma ya jangan bisnis properti di sini kalau memang backgroundnya di money supply ya. Jadi itu aja pesan singkat saya, dan obviously I'm open for the questions. Nanti mungkin karena tiap orang itu kebutuhannya beda-beda, tidak bisa disamaratakan dengan general advice. Jadi mungkin kita masuk langsung ke question session aja ya, Gun ya.
Yeah. Oke. Thank you, Ben. Untuk penjelasannya. Jadi saya simpulkan sekali lagi ya, Jadi untuk apply business PR itu harus ditentukan sama di mana kita mau tinggal di mana, itu penting sekali ya, penting sekali, karena itu menentukan kriteria tertentu. Kemudian kalau nanti apply business, apply under business skill, innovation stream, itu bisnisnya apa, kemungkinan besar bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu di sini nggak begitu tahu juga. Makanya nanti kita akan kenalkan dengan Pak Benny ini. Pak Benny nanti kita adakan Zoom meeting khusus untuk private masing-masing, karena Pak Benny akan mengakses apa yang saudara sekalian, Bapak Ibu semuanya punya, kemudian nanti akan explore untuk apa yang dilakukan di Australia. Kemudian yang ketiga adalah untuk Sophie, untuk investment itu Sophie akan bantu tentang bagaimana kalau orang mau invest 2.5 million itu bagaimana caranya, bagaimana nanti Sophie akan berbicara lebih detail lagi pada waktu private session ya. Demikian juga untuk saya, untuk bagi saudara-saudara sekalian yang ingin mendapatkan kualifikasinya di-assess langsung satu persatu seperti begitu, harus nanti buat appointment masing-masing. Sementara ini mungkin teman-teman saya akan tanya pada Bapak sekalian tentang bagaimana untuk request appointment dengan saya atau dengan yang lainnya. Oke? Jadi dua kalimat terakhir bagi saya penting, ya. Satu, kita apply PR itu bukan we cannot apply PR when we are ready, but we have to apply PR when we are qualified. Pada waktu kita qualified, kita apply PR. Kita kalau kita ngomong siap, nggak akan siap-siap. Ya, yang kedua, tadi seperti Benny ngomong, saya udah selalu ngomong kepada orang lain bahwa Bapak-bapak Ibu sekalian, yang paling penting kalau dalam business skills ini, yang paling penting adalah bisnis. Bisnisnya penting sekali. Ya, PR is the bonus. Ya, business is number one, PR is the bonus. Kalau tidak, you will lose your PR. Ya, oke, sekalian, baik. Sekarang kita masuk ke dalam question and answer, Q&A. Kalau ada Bapak Ibu sekalian ada yang mau bertanya, boleh bertanya, silahkan open videonya, atau nggak apa-apa, silahkan. Ada yang bertanya saudara sekalian? Ada yang bertanya? Ada yang bertanya? Sambil nunggu bertanya ya, saya mau panggil satu teman saya. Ya, satu teman saya. Teman saya ini kenal sama Leo, kenal sama Sophie, kenal juga sama Benny, dan kenal of course kenal sama saya. Dia itu namanya Hadi. Dia udah dapat PR, Hadi Widayat. Dia sudah dapat PR Australia, dan sekarang dalam waktu dekat ini dia mau pindah ke Australia. Ya, apply-nya saya panggilkan Hadi. Halo Hadi. Are you there?
Halo.
Can you turn on your video?
Bentar ya. Halo.
Okay, thank you Hadi. Hadi, bisa cerita tentang pengalaman kamu dari apply PR sampai dengan sekarang mau rencana bisnis. Gitu.
Ya,
Hai Hadi.
Okay, hi Gun, hi everybody. Hi Leo, hi Sophie. Long time no see. Hi Ben, apa kabar?
Hello, Hadi.
Hi everybody. Nice to meet you here. Jadi my visa is actually based on visa 132. Itu tuh visa 132 sekarang udah nggak diadain lagi ya Gun ya. Yeah. So that was actually one of the last tranche yang disetujuin langsung dapat PR. So at that time actually we were quite grateful and quite lucky in the sense that we still have that program, tapi memang kalau yang tadi Pak Gunardi bilang, it is actually getting more difficult as time passes. Jadi whenever we are qualified, I think the best way is still to apply as soon as possible ya, karena I'm sure the threshold for investment for the qualifications is going to get more competitive as time passes.
Correct.
Jadi it is better to invest. And as for myself, I'm actually quite lucky because I met the right people. Yang misalnya Pak Gun yang bisa bantuin ngurusin how to maneuver the documentation sampai bisa jadi. Leo was in Perth interviewing us, and we met actually Leo and Sophie di Jakarta at that time, and he actually gave us good advice. So we are actually more confident in terms of the application process for the state sponsorship in Western Australia. And most importantly, like Benny also mentioned and Pak Gunardi also mentioned, the business side is actually also the most important thing. Yeah. Jadi when we went to Perth, we like what we see, we like the lifestyle, but without somebody there guiding us kayak si Benny, we wouldn't have made the decision to jump in sih. Jadi for me, I trust these guys completely. Jadi if any of you decide to actually apply PR and join us in Australia one day, we will be happy to also help, because we are not there just to make money, but to extend our community to help each other out.
Right.
So basically that's all from me. If anybody wants to approach me or approach Benny or approach Gunardi, feel free. We will definitely build up our communities and our network there in Australia. So that's all for me.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Hadi. Jadi saudara sekalian, benar sekali. Yang ditentukan nanti di Australia itu nanti kita bikin network, business network di sana ya, karena itu very important. Very important. Ya, Hadi bisa kenal Benny, dan Benny baca kenal lagi semua itu banyak sekali teman-teman kita yang bisa kenal satu hal, sehingga bisa ada satu join terjadi bisnis di Australia di sini. Oke, ada tambahan lain, ada hal lain, ada yang mau bertanya saudara sekalian? Ada yang bertanya dari Pak Halim Hartono. Kalau ingin mengetahui prospek bisnis di Perth, bagaimana caranya? Info dari Bapak, mesti bisnisnya tahu dulu, baru bisa tentukan keputusan migration. Salam kenal. Oke, saudara sekalian, nanti Pak Halim bisa nanti kontak kami untuk kita discuss tentang bisnisnya apa, dan nanti kita bukan berarti bisnisnya udah ada langsung buka begini, belum tentu. Ya, tapi istilahnya yang paling penting dari Pak Benny sendiri akan menggali what is potensial bisnis yang akan masing-masing bisa lakukan di Australia. Jadi bukan itu, mungkin nanti kebutuhan bisnisnya itu nanti setelah PR-nya dapat baru bisnis. Tapi banyak klien-klien kita juga sebelum PR-nya dapat mereka sudah bisnis di Australia. Oke. Ada pertanyaan lagi dari Ibu Herlin. Kalau sudah diterima, hanya langsung terbang dan activate PR-nya. Oke, saudara sekalian, kalau sudah diterima, ya, kalau sudah terima itu bisa langsung ke Australia saja langsung, nggak apa-apa. Ya, kalau saudara sekalian kalau misalnya untuk apply PR itu ada dua cara. Satu onshore, satu lagi offshore. Ya, kalau offshore berarti saudara menunggu hasil PR 2 tahun atau 2,5 tahun itu nanti tunggunya di Indonesia. Oke? Tapi kalau onshore, saudara sekalian boleh tunggunya di Australia. Tunggunya boleh di Australia, dan saudara sekalian boleh sambil menunggu PR-nya di granted, saudara sekalian boleh bekerja. Dan sekolah pun sudah tidak usah bayar, sekolah high school ya. Oke? Ya. Oke, ada pertanyaan lain lagi? Apa mudah untuk memulai bisnis untuk foreigner sebelum dapat TR-nya? Makanya Ibu Herlin nanti coba bisa kontak saya untuk kita discuss lebih detail tentang bisnisnya. Nanti saya arrange kita berbicara tentang bisnis dengan Pak Benny atau dengan rekan-rekan yang lainnya ya. Bagaimana visa yang pernah expired, Ibu Lilis Liuson? Untuk visa expired ini nanti harus masing-masing harus nanti telepon saya Dan saudara sekalian, tolong catat nomor telepon saya di dalam saya 0811 20 50 67 itu WhatsApp ya. Saya sendiri tinggal di Melbourne. Nah, tolong WhatsApp sama saya, nanti kita akan assess satu persatu karena seperti tadi saya bicara bahwa untuk reinstate itu diperlukan, saya perlu menggali data-datanya semuanya betul-betul dan how we present the government. Ya, udah berapa lama segala macam itu perlu diinterview satu persatu. Ya, yang paling penting kalau misalnya di Australia punya personal ties, punya sekolah, punya anak, atau sekolah di Australia punya investment, kedua punya bisnis atau punya bisnis atau punya employment task, punya pekerjaan di Australia yang bisa dibawa ke Indonesia atau bagaimana. Nanti kita bisa bicara lebih detail lagi untuk hal itu. Banyak hal yang saya bisa cerita dalam hal ini. Oke, Ibu Lilis bisa nanti telepon saya atau WhatsApp saya untuk kita bisa lebih detail lagi. Hetty tolong catat itu nomor teleponnya dari Pak Halim untuk bisa discuss tentang bisnisnya. Oke, anybody? Any question? Any more questions? Iya, Pak Indrawan, personal ties seperti apa yang dapat digunakan untuk mempertahankan PR? Personal ties itu bisa punya property, punya anak yang sekolah di sini, terus punya investment, itu seperti begitu. Ya, digunakan untuk. Jadi jika ada adik, cukup kuatkah? Nah, saudara sekalian, kalau saya itu konsultan, I'm a registered mortgage agent. Kalau saya itu ada persyaratannya 5, walaupun 1 cukup, tapi saya akan mencari 5-5-nya saya akan kasih kepada government. Jadi saya tidak mau membuat reason cuman on the cuman 1 doang tuh. Saya mau bisa lebih banyak lebih bagus. Apakah adik cukup kuat? Tidak cukup kuat. Ya, itu masih resiko. Masih banyak resiko. Saya bilang makanya harus banyak hal yang digunakan. Kebanyakan kalau orang yang reinstate PR-nya itu kebanyakan mereka pasti tidak qualified pertama kali. Makanya saya mau minta how to make it qualified. Itu mungkin perlu 2 bulan, 3 bulan, bisa 5 bulan, bisa 6 bulan. Semuanya bisa terjadi begitu. Ya, bisa terjadi. Ada yang tunggu setahun dulu baru dia qualified untuk reinstate ya. Makanya tapi harus diatur dari sekarang dulu. Oke. Yang persyaratan khusus WA Western Australia harus reinvest dana di Western setelah dapat PR. Harus berapa lama? That's a good questions. Leo, there's one questions. After the applicant receive the permanent resident, and then you mentioned that we have to invest also the funds in the Western Australia. The question is, how long does the applicant has to invest in Australia after they get the permanent resident?
There's no a set time. Okay, there's no set time. Of course, if your circumstances changes, okay, then you need the money. Okay, of course, then you can move the money. Okay, so don't worry about the time, the duration or whatever. Okay, follow common sense. Understand? Okay, so even you reinvest the money into Western Australian assets. However, if you need the money urgently, okay, to do something, okay, by common sense, you can use that money.
Okay, thank you, Leo.
All right. So don't panic with the the duration. Okay, just do as you go. Okay, don't worry about the time or whatever. Okay, use common sense. Use common sense. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Jadi saudara sekalian, untuk Pak Hade, jadi harus bisnis di Australia tapi harus dengan common sense lah. Kalaupun uangnya mau diperlukan pindah ke kota lain lagi, ya boleh aja. Yang kedua, yang pertanyaan berikutnya Ibu Herlin, English proficiency apakah wajib? Untuk main applicant wajib ya. Wajibnya paling rendah-rendahnya IELTS-nya 4,5 ya, 4,5. Kalau misalnya kurang dari 4,5 harus bayar. Untuk anak, untuk istri juga sama, untuk anak-anak di atas 17 tahun, di atas 16 tahun harus ikut ambil IELTS. Anak-anak pasti nggak ada masalah. Ya, biasanya manajemen atau istrinya biasanya seperti begitu. Kalaupun nggak bisa bahasa Inggris, bisa bayar ke government ya, bukan bayar bagaimana ya, saudara sekalian. Tapi Inggris 4,5 itu super easy ya. Product or business development skill minimum sales will be measured in how long. Itu kalau dari TR, dari temporary menjadi permanent resident, dari temporary menjadi permanent resident, itu yang dilihat hanya 1 tahun terakhir saja ya, hanya 1 tahun terakhir saja. Jadi bisnisnya minimum harus 2 tahun, tapi yang dilihat hanya setahun terakhirnya. Ya. Untuk syarat dana 2,5 juta, apakah harus dibuktikan sumber dana dan dikaitkan dengan sistem perpajakan di Indonesia? Pembuktian ini akan mudah. Normally solusinya gimana? Yes, harus source of fund-nya harus dilihat ya. Paling gampang adalah misalnya punya properti atau punya stock exchange, punya public share, punya seperti begitu, itu gampang ya. Punya uang di apa namanya, di company, punya share di company, itu juga mudah diminta SPT seperti begituan ya. Harus diminta SPT. Saya akan minta SPT. Ya, saya tidak, walaupun bagaimanapun saya akan tetap minta SPT. Karena apa? Sekali waktu diminta, nggak ada, repotnya luar biasa. Oke? Ada pertanyaan lagi? Ya, saudara sekalian, ini emang pertemuan kali ini emang sangat general, ya, sangat general. Tapi saudara sekalian, di sini ada Hetty, ada Dwi, ada Fikri, bisa kontak mereka atau kontak saya untuk nanti kita personal assessment satu persatu. Saya nggak mungkin assess Ibu Lilis, nggak mungkin assess Pak Sugiono, Pak Bambang, nggak mungkin di sini karena itu very private, karena confidential privacy act akan ada di sana. Oke? Saudara sekalian, mudah-mudahan saudara sekalian bisa mendapatkan sesuatu yang dapatkan. Oke, Ibu Lilis, thank you. Hetty tolong, atau Dwi tolong catat itu. Oke, alright. Apakah there's the questions? Apakah ada batas umur untuk reinstating? Tidak ada. Nah, jadi saudara sekalian, ini reinstate is very good, you know. Jadi orang-orang kalau udah umurnya 60-70 tahun boleh bisa di reinstate. Dan sekali lagi saya ngomong, kalaupun dia ada masalah kesehatan, tidak ada masalah. Ya, tidak ada masalah. Ya, yang paling penting makanya yang paling penting PR dapat, udah PR dapat, hilang istilahnya ini hilang lagi pun nggak apa-apa, bisa dihidupin lagi sekarang ya. Sekali lagi saya ngomong terus kalian, kalau apply PR itu when you are qualified, not when you are ready. Apa diperlukan SPT di Indonesia untuk memulai bisnis di Western Australia? Tidak perlu. Untuk mulai bisnis di Western Australia tidak perlu SPT, tapi untuk apply permanent resident, apply temporary resident, pasti akan diminta SPT. Ya, saya kasih pertanyaan, saya banyak pertanyaan. Pak Gunadi, kalau saya SPT sama financial report saya tidak sama, bagaimana? Harus lihat SPT. Oke? Untuk reinstate PR yang expired 15 tahun yang lalu, apakah aplikasinya harus onshore? Definitely harus onshore. Dan nanti harus ada compelling reason. Oke? Ada pertanyaan lagi? Reinstate harus bisnis atau bisa sekolah doktor or another master degree? Semuanya bisa, Ibu Lilis. Very good. Kalau mau ambil doktor atau ambil master degree, it's very good. Pasti bisa. Itu personal ties namanya. Any more questions? Kalau nggak nulis, kalau mau langsung ngomong sama saya juga boleh kok. Ada? Atau mau langsung ke Leo juga boleh, atau ke Sophie juga boleh, atau ke Pak Ben juga boleh. Tapi kebanyakan saya bisa jawab lah semuanya lah. Oke. Ya, saudara sekalian, yang paling penting kalau bisnis skill, bisnisnya harus benar-benar dipikirkan. Kalau enggak nanti PR-nya bisa mati lagi. Oke. Harus bisa the charge of considering, nanti kita bicarakan lagi deh, ya, the charge-nya. Maksudnya gimana the charge of considering itu maksudnya gimana ya? Ibu Lilis tolong dijelasin lagi. Maksudnya fee-nya atau bagaimana? Ya, fee-nya itu kalau untuk reinstating itu 10.000. Ya, kalau untuk apply business visa itu kurang lebih 30.000 plus government fee, government fee bisa sampai dengan 15.000 sampai 20.000, tergantung dari berapa banyak dependennya. Oke. Alright. Nanti presentasi saya itu nanti saya akan kirimin kepada email Bapak Ibu semuanya ya. Oke. Alright. Saya kira
Okay.
ya, ini Topin ada pertanyaan. Another one questions. As a PR or TR? Yang punya bisnis di both country, Indo atau Aussie, bayar pajaknya double nggak? Bayar pajak double. Tapi tanya nanti sama accountant bagaimana ngaturnya semuanya itu. Oke? Oke, saya kira the seminar today is I think will be finished by now. Okay? If you have any more questions, guys, please email me, drop me email. I will email all the presentation to you guys by this weekend. Okay, all right, yeah. Thank you, Leo.
Terima kasih.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Benny, for the talk, and then also thank you for Hadi. Okay.
Thank you.
Semuanya.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Bye.
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 God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Gunadi.
Thank you.